Okay, sweet. We are live. I'm going to go ahead and close out some tabs. I'm going to send this out. I'm going to promote this. Where is it? Here we go. Start sending that out. Oh, I took it out, man. And oh well. Oh no, wait, no, he didn't. Okay, sweet. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting this sent out everywhere. Oh man, YouTube's giving me excellent connection. Is it actually? Oh, well, how about that? Oh, never mind. Anyways, well, good morning, everyone. It's happy Monday, first of all. I know Mondays aren't really all the best days because obviously they're the start to the week, and you're not always in the mood for Mondays. Believe me. I mean, like I'm one of those people. I mean, like that was always me whenever I went to school. So I'm actually very surprised that I was able to get 11 o'clock in. I mean, over an hour. Despite the fact the computer was running very hot, and I managed to yesterday get about maybe 3 videos recorded yesterday. So that was nice. But I'm also hoping to get this show in. Welcome to the SRX Super Show. This is the very first edition of the show, and I do notice that there is a little bit of a buffering problem, so I do apologize for that. Let me see if I'm gonna close Discord here for a second. So let's refresh. This will give me a second. I just recently I woke up probably about an hour and a half ago. I mean, I woke up 3 hours ago, really. But I really was I wanted to get up early enough so that way I'd have some time to watch the race. Because somebody managed to put up the full race without any sort of the crap before, well after the cautions, or the commercial breaks rather, and all that other fun stuff. So I watched the first ever SRX race. I mean, even though I didn't watch it live because I realized that CBS was on cable, which, you know, you learn something new every day. And then I watched it late. I just watched it this morning. I got done with watching it about 20 minutes ago, and was preparing to put the actual picture of the SRX Super Show logo with the background up. So, you know, we've got that. So let's go ahead. Let's review Stafford. Stafford Motor Speedway. Definitely some really good short track racing that just happened over there. Mikey Waltrip, obviously, he had himself some really, really bad luck. Not a good way to start off his season. But, man, we saw everything that you could see in a short track race. A lot of bumping, a lot of banging, a lot of drivers obviously trying to get down into the corner even though they don't know that they're clear. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll talk about my thoughts on the no spotters thing here in a little bit. But the man of the hour that everybody was talking about for the SRX jumps into a patriotic number 10, dominates a pretty good portion of the race. The main event, that is. Heats were, I think, 35-ish laps apiece. So Kobe leads most of the race, and Biffle had himself a really good backup car, but he basically plows his way through the field, Biffle does, and starts battling with Kobe for the lead, but mainly Kobe just dominates. Just dominates the race, doesn't look back on the final restart, and wins the first ever SRX race at Stafford. So your results goes as follows, and I can actually read this because it's only just 12 drivers. Top 3 being Doug Kobe, the winner, Greg Biffle finishing in second, Tony Stewart third. Then you got Helio Castroneves, Bobby Labonte, Ernie Francis Jr. Completed the first half of the field. Then you got Tony Kanaan, Willie T. Ribbs, Paul Tracy, Marco Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott rounding out the rest of the field. And so my thoughts on the racing, it was actually very fun to watch. It was fun. Mainly, like I said, you get everything that you'd expect out of a short track race. A lot of bumping and banging, and some of that other fun stuff in between. Some drivers get mad at each other, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was Doug Kobe winning, representing all the short track guys, and he was originally supposed to be in upstate New York for another modified race, but he gave all that up to compete at Stafford and beat some of the biggest names in racing. Which, to me, a local short track guy beating the likes of Tony Stewart, Bill Elliott, Helio Castroneves, who just recently came off of an Indy 500 win, his fourth one, that is impressive. That is very, very impressive. So, I'm just going to go ahead and right off the bat, A+ on the first ever SRX race at Stafford, man. I mean, it was everything that you could have possibly expected it to be. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, really, really good racing. I can tell you that much. I mean, just, yeah. I mean, that was good. I mean, really though, it was good. And there were some points in there where, it started to get a little bit strung out. I mean, obviously, you didn't want to have that last for too long, so that's where my thoughts of the fun flag comes in, as Alan Bestwick puts it. So, you know of how in NASCAR, whenever there's a long green flag run, everybody is just so strung out. Everybody's kind of just riding and biding their own time to try to make it to the finish. Hang on one second. All right, just making sure. I mean, so far it's at pretty moderate heat. The computer is, but I'm still keeping an eye on it. But anyways, and then all of a sudden, just a caution comes out. Everybody's wondering what the caution is for. They say it's for debris, but really there's no debris. It bunches everybody back up for a restart. And, well, it's kind of like the competition caution, really, but not really at the same time. Because it's just that caution that nobody knows is coming. But this flag, as Alan Bestwick puts it, calls it the fun flag. This is something that I think is very, very interesting. When the field gets so strung out, where everybody's just single file, everybody's just getting into this green flag run, that green flag run does not last long. That caution comes out, bunches the field back up, and gets them going again. I like it. I honestly like it. I think this is something that NASCAR would maybe could take a look into having. I mean, even though there's stage racing, so really they wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but doing that, putting out the fun flag within stages, I mean, that would be interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if what I'm saying is a double standard or not, but I mean, oh well. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just thinking that the fun flag is a very interesting flag. I'm kind of liking it, and just I think we need to see more of that in other racing series. I mean, that's just me, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of ramble on about some more thoughts. I mean, as I was watching the race, I mean, there was Danica Patrick, who was one of the guests, who was one of the analysts, who was one of the color play-by-plays. Well, not really play-by-play, but more so color announcers. And honestly, I just kind of was like, she does okay, but there are just times where she kind of does get a little bit cringy. But I mean, for the most part, she did okay. I mean, obviously for her first time being in the booth in a little while. I mean, the last time I've ever heard her in a booth was 2015 at Michigan for an Xfinity race. So, she's barely been in the booth. She's still trying. I mean, obviously she's trying her best to be engaging. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, at times she's a little cringy, like I said, but I think she does okay with whatever she can bring to the table. I mean, she's all right. She's all right. Let's see. Trying to think here if there's any other thing I want to bring up before I move on. I don't know, but I can definitely. But I mean, obviously, I think everybody already knows that this series. I mean, honestly, with it being having this, and it kind of popped in my head every now and then when I thought about SRX. I would sometimes associate it with like a short track / dirt track version of IROC, but better. I mean, because like IROC, when it was getting very late into its existence, I mean, honest with just IROC, all it was just drivers racing on big tracks like Daytona, Talladega, Michigan, even some road courses in there like Watkins Glen or the Daytona Road Course, or other intermediate tracks like Atlanta, for example. It just got old really fast, and it just never really lived up to the hype. SRX, I mean, it's fresh, it's new, and I'm honestly liking it. I think you need to see more short track racing, more bumping, more banging, more door rubbing, and we're going to see that when we go ahead to Knoxville. We already saw it at Stafford this past Saturday night. We're going to see it more in Knoxville. So speaking of Knoxville, let's go ahead, look ahead to Knoxville. We also got the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series that will be there later on in the season. Well, later on this year, rather. And as far as SRX goes, I mean, barely anybody has had experience racing on dirt. I mean, that's just within the SRX field. So, it is going to be very interesting to see these drivers take on dirt for the first time. I mean, you've got some drivers in there that have experience on dirt. Tony Stewart, for instance. We've also got Haley Deegan, who is one of the all-star drivers for SRX. She's going to be coming in and racing at Knoxville here this Saturday night. She's got some experience on dirt. Those two drivers that I can really think of. Oh, maybe I think you can also throw Greg Biffle into that mix as well. I think Biffle has some dirt track racing experience, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think this will be good. It'll be some good racing. I mean, you're gonna have some experience paired in with some inexperienced drivers at Knoxville as well. So I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see once we get down to Knoxville. So I'm gonna do my predictions for Knoxville. So basically, I'm just gonna do them the exact same way as I always do for the NASCAR Pit Stop Show, as well as Wyatt Walker, Zachary Taylor, Sean Ard, the regulars of the show, and as well as everybody else like Ryan Kendall, Nathan Stapleton, Travis Crampton, Allison Rain, and I think there's one more person in there. But I don't know. I think I might have named them all, but you know, either way, the former regulars, the guys who I put on for the show and said that they would be there, but never showed up. So, anyways, driver to win. That's pretty self-explanatory. Driver to stay away from. The guy who hasn't been doing well the last couple of weeks. In this case, this past Saturday night. Or the dark horse. The guy who has just been really good. The guy who's just been on fire. The guy who you'd least expect to show up in the top 6 or whatnot. So I'm not doing points for this. This is just straight up predictions with nothing on the line. So I'm going to go ahead and say for the driver to win right off the bat, the guy who can think of off the top of my head as the best man to do it, Tony Stewart, driver to win pretty easily. Got a lot of dirt track experience with wing sprint cars and some dirt modifieds. I mean, you know, he's my driver to win. Driver to stay away from, man, that's kind of tough. But if I had to choose at least one, I'd say give it to, and I really hate to do this to him, but Michael Waltrip's my driver to stay away from. Just after what happened to him, I mean, he wrecked early in the first, and he wrecked early on lap 3 or 4, and he brought out the first caution. He didn't have a whole lot of damage from the looks of it, but then on a restart, he got more damage, which damaged the rear wing, and it cost him a good finish. I mean, a top 10 finish for that matter. So, unfortunately, he's my driver to stay away from. Dark horse, I'm probably gonna have to say, probably gonna have to say Greg Biffle's my dark horse. After seeing him put together like a really good performance, going to a backup car, powering his way to the front of the field and staying there, he has impressed me. So I'm going to say that Biffle is my dark horse. And there you have it. That is the first episode of the SRX Super Show in the books, and I honestly don't really have anything else to kind of bring up, but maybe if there are more panelists that be willing to join. I mean, obviously I don't think there'd be a lot of people that'd be willing to get up at early enough to join the show around 10 in the morning. So I mean, I'm always down to have other panelists that be willing to join in. So I mean, there is that. But anyways, Thank you guys a lot for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead, give it a like. And if you have not considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that about does it for me.